Hi there. Hi, Roger. Welcome to the Wyld Morris video show. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing very well, thank you.
And
I've had
so,
I've had two jabs, so I can now start dancing again.
oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. I've had the one, and I think my second one is in about a week's time. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And I think we're all looking forward to being able to dance out properly. And we're going to do that with Wyld Morris from what was it, Wednesday the 19th of May. We'll be dancing out.
That's right.
So that is really, really good. So, and today's show is about your history of Morris dancing, which is a long history, I believe. So what I've got here, I've got a set of slides, and I'd like you basically to talk through your history. So here we have a nice one, and let me just go on to this. A couple of these slides. So if you just talk us through these photos, these images.
Well, they're pictures of me dancing with Wyld Morris,
I want to know how
and
come.
a hat which is too small, and every time I dance with it, it falls off. So I only wear it when I'm steady.
Okay, I just want to know how come the cameraman took so many of you. I think you're very photogenic, Roger.
I don't know. It must be the beard.
It must be. Yeah, well, I'm growing my one back, as you might have seen earlier. So,
Uh,
so this was at the Bridport Folk Festival a couple of years ago, and outside Bridport Antiques. And I think we've got just one more. Is this? Yeah, one more of you. There you are.
the sun must have been shining there because I got my
It was,
sunglasses on.
and not just you, Bryony, as well. The thing
Oh
I
yeah, that's right.
noticed of this one, I thought, where's Roger's stick?
It's horizontal and pointing at you.
It's not pointing at me. I'm in the background over there. It's pointing at the
Oh,
cameraman.
so you are. That's right.
Okay.
Very
Well,
good. Yeah.
that was an absolutely great festival, Bridport Folk Festival, and we're looking forward to dancing again at the Folk Festival in August this year. Obviously, there wasn't one last year. Uh, well, that's one of the two Morris teams that you're still dancing with. But I'd like to go back to your early days. So this, I believe, is your Morris history. So tell us about your history as a Morris dancer, which dates back to 1956. Wow.
Right. Well, I went to Reading University and eventually got a degree in geography. Although I did so many other things, it's rather surprising I did it because I joined the ballroom society. I did country dancing. I did Scottish dancing was later on. The nice thing about Reading University was that I met Anne at the Freshers' Ball, and I danced with her ever since until she unfortunately passed away 10 years ago. Um, Somebody before me had organised a gentleman, very nice guy from Bampton, Morris, who came and instructed us in what to do, and so we had a very good time there at Reading. And then after Reading University, I joined the RAF and was in Norfolk. And then from when I finished there, I went to Norwich, and there I found Kemp's Men. Kemp's Men have a long history. Here we are. That's it. This is. You may or may not know the story of the
Oh,
uh, of Kemp. Do I talk about it now?
yes, please. Yes.
It was where Kemp was one of William Shakespeare's principal actors and also a Morris dancer. And in about 1599, apparently they fell out, and in order to demonstrate his unchuffedness, he decided to dance from London to Norwich, and it's called the 9 Days Wonder. Days is Daies, which is a jolly good way of spelling it. Anyway, I joined them and danced with them for about 5 or 6 years. My memory is very good. It's just the retrieval system doesn't always work well.
And that's fascinating.
Um, And yeah, shall I carry on with my history, or do you want to
Oh
put
well,
some
I will.
more?
I've got some more of Kemps Morris. So I hadn't realised this. So if they hadn't have fallen out, William Shakespeare might have just been a Morris dancer and not written any plays, maybe.
Yeah, well, he has Morris dancers in his plays, so they,
Ah,
yeah, oh yeah.
and a fool, of
And
course.
it was this guy who was the principal Morris dancer at that time.
Okay, so we've got some from the old Kemp's website. I've got some information. We get a bit of a feel for the side. So this was their claims to fame and a bit of the history there. So some jokey comments there. The oldest thin Morris man in the world, the youngest randiest Morris man in the world, and the oldest. So bit of a jokey culture I get from there.
Couple of little stories from when I was dancing with them. We were dancing out on grass, as you do occasionally if you have to, and we were at a mill site on one of the Broads. And as we pounded up and down, so the worms came up to see what was going on, and there was an awful lot of squashed worms left at
Oh
the end of it.
dear.
The other story I like to tell is of a little old lady who came up because we collected, of course, as Morris men do,
Yep.
and she had a sixpence in her hand, if you can remember what a sixpence was, and proffered it to me, and she said, "What are you collecting for?" And at that time, it was perfectly you to say beer money. So she
Yep.
put the sixpence back in her purse and got out half a crown.
Lovely.
You know what half a crown is?
Yes, indeed.
That's
2 and 6.
yeah, that was at Horning Ferry, which is a lovely place in Norfolk.
Oh, right. So, and they had an AGM. I found this was the oldest AGM I found.
All
Dance
right.
policy.
Wynn they refer to there was a very long-term member of Wyld, and he got an OBE for doing things for the art. So he was a nice old guy, and we come to it later on when I was dancing with Northwood, that the Squire of Northwood, who you will see later on, I think, also went to the University of East Anglia, and he danced with Kemp's men. And we
Oh,
went up for Wynn's funeral
oh,
as well.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Okay, and that was the. So they're still going. I see. I see up at the top they had a link to their 2019 program.
Yeah. Oh
Obviously,
yes.
things were on hold, but
Yeah. No, they're
so
still going.
they're still going. Oh, that's nice. So then moving on from the Kemp's men. And this is you. I spotted you. I Googled around and I eventually found this photo of Tonga Morris and this photo of you. So tell us a bit about this and about your time in Tonga and Tonga Morris men.
Right. Well, that's a slightly long story. I went to Nottingham University because to get my TPI exams, I did all the technical intelligent ones. The ones I couldn't do was the drawing. So I decided to get a master's degree in it, so I didn't have to worry about that. So I did, and then I was invited to join a group to go to Cyprus with Nottingham University. It was called the Cyprus Planning Project, where, would you believe, I was part of the team responsible for introducing town planning into Cyprus. We introduced it, but I don't think they took it on board very much. So anyway, while I was there, I met, I can't see which one he is. There was a Scottish gentleman there who played the violin and played all sorts of folky tunes, and he found out I was a Morris man. So he played some Morris tunes and said he'd like to learn to dance. So I said, righto, well, if you can find 5 other chums, we'll see what we can do. So we did. We found 2 Swedish violinists as well. That's Suzanne's hand just there. And as it happens, this picture shows my son as well, because he's at the front with me. That's he.
Wow.
He was actually at boarding school in Rutland, and the musician for Northwood Morris also played for Rutland a long time ago. There's all sorts of interesting mixtures in my life.
Does your
Um,
son still dance? Did he continue
uh,
dancing?
he has danced with us, yes, but he doesn't do it now. He's now lives in Fiji,
Oh,
and when there are tourists, he works in the tourism industry, and his wife blows glass and makes glass things. It's very interesting. We were supposed to go there for Christmas last year, yes, and obviously we couldn't.
yeah.
So in that picture there, there's an American, there's a Tongan at the back there. There's another person who made the swords, and although you haven't got it, there is actually a picture of us doing rapper as well.
Oh, wow.
And in Tonga, every year they have a Hailala festival. Hailala is one of the most beautiful flowers in Tonga, and the Tongans love dancing and singing. Um, on one occasion, when we were just watching, there were four Tongans reeling down the street and singing in harmony. It's quite amazing.
Wow.
And so they said, I suppose I said, can we join in? So we joined in the festival, and the Tongans loved it.
Excellent. Excellent.
What else can I say? Yes. Oh, and
Yeah,
there
we
is a
have.
T-shirt which you haven't. There we are. And that little lady in the front there was my secretary.
Which
So
one?
the Tongan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's Elena. And the T-shirt was designed by a lady who does screen printing, I think it's called. And that picture on the T-shirt is actually based on me. So
Wow. Do you still have a t-shirt? And does it still fit you?
I do. Unfortunately, it's shrunk a little, as you can see
I'm
looking
sure.
at me there. Yeah. So in the one in this one here is an American. These are Swedes. He's another Swede. He's English. I can't remember this guy very well, and he's I can't remember him either. Anyway, I told you
Hey,
about my retrieval system.
yeah. Yeah. So then that was Tonga, and then the next we have Cyprus.
Well, yes, in between Tonga and Cyprus, I worked in about 11 countries because I worked for the European Union, as it was called, for the Commission. So I worked in all sorts of places. And then towards the end, I decided I love Cyprus. I think Cyprus is a fantastic place. And all this business about Northern Cyprus is very upsetting. Um,
Yes.
And so I bought a house there, and when I went there, I found there was a Cyprus Morris group, so I joined them as well. So there are several. If you look on Cyprus Morris, you'll find their website has got lots of stuff on it, and
Yeah.
on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And I appear on several of those, also including doing a jig.
Oh, right. Okay. I
Uh,
didn't spot that one. But there was a lot
well,
of resources, as you say.
yeah,
So
that's right.
that's nice. And then our next one.
So then, after I retired, I went back and lived in Croydon, which is where my home is, and I found that there was another Morris side there, would you believe? So I joined the Northwood Morris. Stephen Collingwood, the squire, is the one that's mentioned above. He's the guy who was at UEA, and he danced with Kemp's men, as I said before. This is an extract from our website and talks about different people. John Wimhurst, the bagman, lots of things go round him because he's very organising. He's an excellent chap. And then, as it says, I have friends and family all around the world, and I still enjoy going. I've had a little trouble with my knee just recently, but I think I'm going to have it sorted out because I think it's Morris dancing which has kept me young.
Absolutely.
Um,
And we'll see you dancing shortly, I think. There's a
well,
photo of you dancing on May Day 2017.
right now this is a sad one because I think this is in Queen's Gardens, if I'm not mistaken, which
In Croydon, you say?
in Croydon, yes, which is being redeveloped. That's another one of these upsetting things. And well, I won't go into the politics of it, but it shouldn't be happening, and it's all to do with the elections which are going on at the moment, because it's a
Yeah.
Labour-run council, and unfortunately, they've run the whole place into bankruptcy. Anyway, so that was at the Queen's Gardens. That will be on May Day in
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, a little story which you haven't got here. 2 years ago, when we were out clapping for the NHS, one of them was on May the 1st, and whilst I wasn't up at dawn, I decided that if one went back to the beginning of the year, because the year starts in Tonga, because it's on this side of the date line just, that it would have been at 8 o'clock in the morning there, and as Tonga, as Morris time is a bit iffy occasionally, I told the assembled, or just in the neighbourhood here, that they should consider it was dawn. So then I did a jig then.
Excellent, excellent. And talking of you dancing a jig,
Oh, there we are. That was oh, I can't think what you call it. But anyway, that was supposed to be part of your
yeah,
combined thing of shows when we all dance together. And this is Notting Girl. This is probably the most best known jig in the Morris world, although there are lots of others. And this was at in front of your house, Brian, an opposite Waitrose, and this was a cheeky dance out when was it? Middle of last year, wasn't it? When we
well, it was October last year,
yeah, that's right.
October and
Oh
November,
yeah,
when we were allowed to dance out, but only in groups of 6.
yeah. It
So we
actually
had to
says
do
October there.
4 people dancing and 1 or 2 musicians.
That's right. So that was it. I was dancing reasonably well then. So I don't get off the ground as much as I used to.
I must admit, we were all very grateful for you doing this jig, because what we hadn't realised was if you're dancing, if there's just 4 of you are dancing and it's a normal dance, you have to do 50% extra dancing. There's no break while the corners go and you just stand still. So we had to get our breath back. So we were really pleased that you were happy to do this jig for us.
Yeah. No, that was very good. I think that brings us more or less up to date.
It does. I
Looking
think we
forward
can just
to,
see the musicians
Wednesday.
shortly. So
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Wednesday week when we're going to be out dancing.
yeah,
Four dancers, 2 musicians, I think. There we go.
we'll just see you finishing off. So has it always been the Morris tradition that you've danced? Have you danced any other type of dancing, sword or
Yes,
northwest?
I've done well. As I said, in Tonga we did rapper. I've danced rapper as well in other places. I can do standing up rapper now, but when it comes to going down to the floor and jumping, I can't do it.
Okay.
And with Cyprus Morris, we do northeast
Yeah,
long sword.
yeah,
And of course, from time to time, with Wyld, we do border Morris as well.
indeed, yeah. So Roger, there is your
Oh,
life. So
I forgot to mention with Northwood that we went to France. We've been there on 3 occasions now. We have a weekend there. We stay at a youth hostel, which is a rather upbeat sort of youth hostel, and we dance in Calais on Saturday and Boulogne on Sunday.
okay,
And have a nice little.
from what I've heard, I wouldn't get involved in organising the next trip, because it's very, very difficult in terms of visa regulations and insurance and taking
Yes,
musical instruments over there. I think
yes.
I've heard that.
As you can imagine, I am not in favour of Brexit.
No, no, yeah. So Roger, many thanks for your memories, for sharing those memories, and I should see you either a practice on Wednesday or a dance out in 2 weeks' time.
Well, I should be at practice on Wednesday because at 4:30 I'm having this needle in my knee to make it better. So, assuming that works, by 7 o'clock I should be dancing again.
Excellent, excellent, and you'll be leaping off the ground even higher with.
Ah, indeed,
Perhaps.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to share my thoughts.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Roger, as always. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, righto.
Bye.
Lots of love. Wassail, everybody.